and welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanziba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will get you detailed news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. President Biden celebrates his 80th birthday as he considers another White House bid. Police says gunman kills 5 at gay club is subdued by patrons. Biden's granddaughter Naomi Peter Neal Wade at White House. Biden sending federal aid as New York digs out from huge snowstorm. Musk restores Trump's Twitter account after online poll. Democratic U.S. Representative Gomez triumphs in California district. Obama to campaign for Warnock on December 1st before Georgia runoff. Georgia appeals ruling on Saturday, early voting for runoff. NASA capsule buzzes moon last big step before lunar orbit. Reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley to be sentenced. Elton John rockets toward retirement at Dodger Stadium. Top US diplomat in Qatar for soccer talks amid Iran tension. Earthquake killed at least 162 and injured hundreds in Indonesia. China's Guangzhou locks down millions in zero COVID fight. North Korea calls UN's Guterres puppet of US after launch. Djokovic matches Federer's record with 6th ATP Finals title. US and Wales tie 1-1 in World Cup opener. Now news in detail. President Biden celebrated his 80th birthday Sunday, becoming the first octogenarian to serve in the Oval Office. Biden marked his birthday with a brunch hosted by First Lady Jill Biden, according to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, the day after the Saturday wedding of his granddaughter Naomi Biden on the White House South Lawn. A perfect birthday celebration filled with so much love and Joe's favorite coconut cake, the First Lady tweeted, sharing a photo of the Biden family gathered around a table as the president blew out a birthday candle. Biden also made a call to the US men's national soccer team as the FIFA World Cup got underway Sunday in Qatar. In a break from birthday levity, the president also addressed the deadly shooting at the LGBTQ nightclub Club Q in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where a gunman killed 5 people and wounded 25 others. Biden also joined other lawmakers to mark Transgender Day of Remembrance in the wake of the shooting. There is no place for violence, hatred, and bigotry in America. Yet, tragically, as last night's attack in Colorado Springs reminds us, too many LGBTQ+ people in the United States and around the world continue to face unconscionable attacks, Biden said in a statement. The president's 80th birthday comes as the political focus shifts from the midterms to the 2024 presidential election, with former President Trump last week announcing he will mount another run to reclaim the White House. Biden, already the oldest president to enter office, has acknowledged his age as a concern for voters, but insisted he intends to run again. A 22-year-old gunman opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle inside a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs, killing 5 people and leaving 25 injured before he was subdued by heroic patrons and arrested by police who arrived within minutes, authorities said Sunday. The suspect in the Saturday night shooting at Club Q used an AR-15 style semi-automatic weapon, a law enforcement official said. A handgun and additional ammunition magazines also were recovered, according to the official, who could not discuss details of the investigation publicly and spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. The attack ended when a patron grabbed a handgun from the suspect and hit him with it, Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers told the Associated Press. The person who hit the gunman had him pinned down when police arrived, Suthers said. On its Facebook page, the club called it a hate attack. Investigators were still determining a motive and whether to prosecute it as a hate crime, said El Paso County District Attorney Michael Allen. Charges against the suspect will likely include first-degree murder, he said. Police identified the alleged gunman as Anderson Lee Aldridge, who was in custody and being treated for injuries. Aldridge was arrested in 2021 after his mother reported he threatened her with a homemade bomb and other weapons, authorities said. They declined to elaborate on that arrest. No explosives were found, authorities said at the time, and the Gazette in Colorado Springs reported that prosecutors did not pursue any charges and that records were sealed. Of the 25 injured, at least 7 were in critical condition, authorities said. Some were hurt trying to flee, and it was unclear if all of the victims were shot, a police spokesperson said. Trailed by a lengthy, flowing veil, President Joe Biden's granddaughter Naomi Biden walked across the south lawn of the White House on Saturday toward an altar of shrubs and flowers to marry her longtime boyfriend, Peter Neal, in a rare wedding on the grounds. Theirs was just the 19th wedding in 200-plus years of White House history. Under a sunny blue sky paired with unseasonably crisp 40-degree temperatures, the bride and groom, both dressed by American fashion designer Ralph Lauren, exchanged I do's as 250 family members and friends watched as they were united in a nearly hour-long ceremony. Naomi Biden, 28 years old, wore a long-sleeved, high-neck gown and veil covering hair that had been styled behind her head. Neil, who is 25 years old, chose a navy blue three-piece suit with a double-breasted vest. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted the wedding of their eldest grandchild. President Joe Biden is sending federal aid to western New York to help state and local authorities clean up from the massive storm that dumped as much as 6 feet of snow in western and northern New York, the White House announced Monday. The emergency declaration authorizes the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to coordinate disaster relief in 11 counties hit by the lake-effect snowstorm Friday and Saturday. New York Governor Kathy Hochul thanked Biden for granting her request for emergency aid and added in a news release, "My team and I will continue working around the clock to keep everyone safe, help communities dig out and secure every last dollar to help rebuild and recover from this unprecedented, record-shattering historic winter storm." The National Weather Service recorded 77 inches by Saturday in Orchard Park, home to the NFL's Buffalo Bills, and 72 inches in Natural Bridge, a hamlet near Watertown off the eastern end of the Lake Ontario. The storm forced the Bills to move Sunday's game against the Cleveland Browns to Detroit. The Bills won 31-23. More snow fell overnight Sunday in some areas, but it stopped by daybreak Monday. Elon Musk reinstated Donald Trump's account on Twitter on Saturday, reversing a ban that has kept the former president off the social media site since a pro-Trump mob attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, as Congress was poised to certify Joe Biden's election victory. Musk made the announcement in the evening after holding a poll that asked Twitter users to click yes or no on whether Trump's account should be restored. The yes vote won with 51.8%. Previously, Musk had said Twitter would establish new procedures and a content moderation council before making decisions to restore suspended accounts. Shortly afterward, Trump's account, which had earlier appeared as suspended, reappeared on the platform complete with his former tweets, more than 59,000 of them. His followers were gone, at least initially, but he quickly began regaining them. There were no new tweets from the account as of late Saturday. However, Musk restored the account less than a month after the Tesla CEO took control of Twitter and 4 days after Trump announced his candidacy for the 2024 presidential race. Democratic U.S. Representative Jimmy Gomez defeated rival Democrat David Kim on Saturday in a Los Angeles district after a battle on the party's progressive flank. With nearly all the ballots counted, Gomez had 51.3% to 48.7% for Kim, or a margin of about 3,000 votes. The race was a rematch from 2020 when Gomez defeated Kim, an immigration lawyer. Under California's primary rules, only the top two finishers advanced to the November election, which set up the fight between two Democrats. The heavily Democratic 34th district is a diverse, urban mishmash of neighborhoods that cuts across income, racial, and ethnic groups. It includes downtown Los Angeles, Koreatown, and heavily Latino Boyle Heights. Former President Barack Obama, reprising his battleground blitz ahead of the midterm elections, will campaign again for Senator Raphael Warnock as the Georgia Democrat tries to withstand a strong challenge from Republican Herschel Walker before their December 6 runoff. Obama's return trip to Georgia is scheduled for December 1st, the eve of the final day of early in-person voting that has proven critical to Democrats in recent years, including Warnock's runoff special election victory nearly 2 years ago. Obama first appeared with Warnock in late October during the general election early voting period. Warnock led Walker by about 36,000 votes in the general election but fell short of a majority, triggering a runoff under Georgia law. Obama is the only significant national Democrat to campaign in person for Warnock, who has spent much of his re-election bid aiming for independent voters and even moderate Republicans, in addition to Democrats' core supporters. Georgia is appealing a judge's ruling that allows counties to offer early voting this coming Saturday in the U.S. Senate runoff election between Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. Warnock's campaign, along with the Democratic Party of Georgia and the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, sued the state last week, arguing that early voting should be allowed that day. They were challenging guidance from Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger that said state law doesn't allow voting this Saturday because it's the day after a state holiday. That day is the only possibility for Saturday voting before next month's Senate runoff election between Warnock and Walker. Thursday is Thanksgiving and Friday is a state holiday. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Thomas Cox on Friday issued an order siding with the Warnock campaign and the Democratic groups. Lawyers for the state on Monday filed a notice of appeal to the Georgia Court of Appeals. Warnock and Walker, a former football player, were forced into a December 6 runoff because neither own a majority in the midterm election this month. NASA's Orion capsule reached the moon Monday, whipping around the far side and buzzing the lunar surface on its way to a record-breaking orbit with test dummies sitting in for astronauts. It's the first time a capsule has visited the moon since NASA's Apollo program 50 years ago and represents a huge milestone in the 4.1 billion test flight that began last Wednesday. The close approach of 81 miles occurred as the crew capsule and its 3 wired-up dummies were on the far side of the moon. Because of a half-hour communication blackout, flight controllers in Houston did not know if the critical engine firing went well until the capsule emerged from behind the moon. 232,000 miles from Earth. The capsule's cameras sent back a picture of the world, a tiny blue orb surrounded by blackness. The capsule accelerated well beyond 5,000 mph as it regained radio contact, NASA said. Less than an hour later, Orion soared above Tranquility Base, where Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on July 20, 1969. Todd and Julie Chrisley were driven by greed as they engaged in an extensive bank fraud scheme and then hid their wealth from tax authorities while flaunting their lavish lifestyle, federal prosecutors said, arguing the reality television stars should receive lengthy prison sentences. The Chrisleys gained fame with their show Chrisley Knows Best, which follows their tight-knit, boisterous family. They were found guilty on federal charges in June and are set to be sentenced by U.S. District Judge Eleanor Ross in a hearing that began Monday. Using a process to calculate a sentencing guideline range based on several factors, federal prosecutors determined the upper end of that range is nearly 22 years for Todd Chrisley and about 12 and a half years for Julie Chrisley. The couple should also be ordered to pay restitution, prosecutors wrote in a court filing. 47 years after he took the stage at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles in a sequined stud baseball uniform as the world's biggest pop star, Elton John walked onto the same stage on Sunday night wearing a bedazzled Dodgers bathrobe, a uniform more fitting for a 75-year-old man on the verge of retirement. The crowd of more than 50,000 roared at the moment that came in the final minutes of the final North American concert of a tour John says will be his last. "I want to spend time with my family because I will be 76 next year," he said. "I want to bring them out and show you why I am retiring." He embraced and kissed his husband, David Furnish, while his two sons, 11-year-old Zachary and 9-year-old Eliza, wearing matching Dodgers jackets that read Elton on the back, waved gleefully at the crowd. John then broke into Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the inevitable final song that gave the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour its name. Now it's time for Global Update. America's top diplomat landed in Qatar on Monday to take in a World Cup match and hold talks as regional tensions remain high amid Iran's rapid advancement of its nuclear program and nationwide protests shaking the Islamic Republic. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, a soccer fan and player himself, attended where America faced Wales on Monday night at Ahmad bin Ali Stadium. Blinken also will be holding crucial diplomatic talks with authorities in Qatar, one of the U.S. trusted interlocutors with Iran. Doha shares a massive offshore natural gas field with Tehran. Iran also provided airspace routes for Qatar Airways flights and supplied food shipments to Qatar amid a years-long boycott of Doha by 4 Arab countries. Blinken's visit comes as part of a strategic dialogue with Qatar, which also hosts some 8,000 American troops at its massive Al Udeid air base that's the forward headquarters of the U.S. military's Central Command. The base served as a keynote in America's chaotic 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan and evacuation of Afghan civilians. A strong, shallow earthquake toppled buildings and walls on Indonesia's densely populated main island on Monday, killing at least 162 and injuring hundreds as people fled into the street, some covered in blood and debris. Officials were gathering information on the toll of those injured and killed by the quake in the remote area. Emergency workers treated the injured on stretchers and blankets outside hospitals, on terraces and in parking lots in the Cianjur region, about 3 hours' drive from the capital, Java. The injured, including children, were given oxygen masks and IV lines and were being resuscitated. Residents, some crying and holding children, fled damaged homes after the magnitude 5.6 quake shook the region in West Java province in the late afternoon at a depth of 10 kilometers. It also caused panic in the greater Jakarta area, where high-rises swept and some people evacuated. Rescue teams and civilians in Cianjur were looking for people buried in collapsed brick homes. In many homes, chunks of concrete and roof tiles fell inside bedrooms. The southern Chinese metropolis of Guangzhou locked down its largest district Monday as it tries to tamp down a major COVID-19 outbreak, suspending public transit and requiring residents to present a negative test if they want to leave their homes. The outbreak is testing China's attempt to bring a more targeted approach to its zero-COVID policies while facing multiple outbreaks driven by fast-spreading Omicron variants. China is the only major country in the world still trying to curb virus transmissions through strict lockdown measures and mass testing. Bayon district, home to 3.7 million people in Guangzhou, also suspended in-person classes for schools and sealed off universities. The measures are meant to last until Friday, the city announced. North Korea's foreign minister called UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres a puppet of the United States as she slammed the UN chief for joining US-led condemnation of the North's recent intercontinental ballistic missile test. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres earlier issued a statement strongly condemning North Korea's ICBM launch on Friday and reiterating his call on the North to immediately desist from taking any further provocative actions. Guterres' statement came after the United States and other countries issued similar criticism of the North's ICBM test that showed an potential to strike anywhere in the continental US. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 15,278.26. The NYSE composite is decreased by 31.51 points or 0.21%. Tokyo stock close price is 27,944.79. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 45.02 points or 0.16%. Shanghai stock close price is 3085.0444. The Shanghai Composite Index is decreased by 12.20 points or 0.39%. Hong Kong stock close price is 17,655.91. The Hang Seng Index is decreased by 336.63 points or 1.87%. Bombay stock close price is 61,144.84. The Sensex index is decreased by 518.64 points or 0.84%. Now a look of today's sports stories. Novak Djokovic claimed a record-equaling sixth ATP Finals title by beating the third-seeded Casper Ruud on Sunday to top a fantastic finish to the season for the Serb. Djokovic won 7-5, 6-3 to secure his first title at the event since 2015 and match Roger Federer's record. The 35-year-old Djokovic, who had lost his two previous finals at the event, raised his arms out and smiled broadly after sealing the match with an ace. Djokovic became the oldest champion at the prestigious year-end tournament and also earned the largest payday in tennis history as he walked away with $4.7 million for claiming the ATP Finals trophy undefeated. Now the World Cup match reports. The US men's soccer team kicked off their tournament Monday against Wales in a showdown that should reveal whether they came to Qatar with a good chance to advance beyond the group stage or if this World Cup is merely an improvement over the last go-around by simply being here. The US led 1-0 after a goal by Timothy Weah in the 36th minute before Gareth Bale scored on a penalty kick in the 82nd minute to tie the game for Wales. Both teams returned to the World Cup with a 1-1 draw and have everything still to do over their final two group games. Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford put last year's European Championship loss behind them, combining to score 3 goals in England's 6-2 rout of Iran on Monday at the World Cup. Both players missed penalties in the shootout loss to Italy in the Euro 2020 final and were then subjected to racist abuse. A year later, Saka scored twice at Khalifa International Stadium and Rashford came off the bench to add another with his first move of the match. The Netherlands left it late to snatch a 2-0 victory over Senegal in their Group A World Cup match in a game that was high in industry but largely lacking quality. Let's have a look on today's weather chart. That's all in today's news. Keep watching Millennium News 24 for latest updates. Millennium TV USA and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.